for those that don't know, I mean, I've read some of the, the death metal history books and stuff about the formation of Death. I know it's been covered, but some of the bigger things, like I know you and Cam Lee, you guys were doing the Mantas thing. You guys kind of put that together. But when did you meet Chuck? Like, when did he come into the picture?
I met him at a backyard party, and like you said, Barney and I already had the Mantas thing going, but we had nowhere to jam. We were just like jamming at this other guy's house, who's another guitar player, and we just came up with the name due to basically just stole it from Mantas from Venom.
Right.
It's a cool name.
Yeah.
But so I met Chuck at a backyard party, and it was like a cake party where a band's playing. You go out you hear about a party and blah 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 back in the 80s, and this is like late 82. Early 83.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, we just hit it off and started talking music. And
was it one of those
Barney.
Things where it was like had some just common bands that maybe not as many people were listening to, like kind of like a bond, something like that, or?
I don't know. I mean, everybody that all the parties that I went to, they were pretty much, it was rock and metal. You know what I mean? Anywhere between Sabbath, Aerosmith to Priest, Maiden, those kind of covers, and that's so. You got to think it's late 82, early 83. So I think Kill 'Em All was out. I don't think Show No Mercy had come out yet. I'm not sure. But yeah, we just had, I guess it was a common thing, you know what I mean? With music, just shooting the shit. And he told me he played guitar, and I said I play guitar, and mentioned Barney about drums. And next thing I knew, we were in his garage. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And you guys were pretty young, right?
Yeah, 16. Yeah.
Did you guys just start off, doing some of the covers, or did you guys start off right away just doing the original stuff?
A couple of Metallica covers off the first record. This is just in the garage. We didn't start playing out yet. And we did Live Wire from Motley Crue. I know we played that live at Showbiz Pizza Place.
Okay.
It was like a teen night. But no, yeah, we actually did that, a Metallica cover, a Sabotage cover. And then I think we had a handful of originals. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, right. So when did you guys start getting into some of because I know I've heard, some of all the early extreme stuff seems like it comes from, Venom, and there's always a Bathory or Hellhammer, that kind of stuff. Like, when did you guys start finding out about all that?
83. We kind of Chuck had some stuff. He definitely had like Merciful Fate, which I had heard too, and Raven. There was a lot of bands already out. I just left a handful out. But yeah, like mid 83, late 83, 84, Hellhammer, and then, Show No Mercy came out after Kill 'Em All. And that's what really made me want to play fast. Was excuse me, the first Slayer record. So,
Show No Mercy. Yeah.
But yeah, as far as Bathory and Venom and Hellhammer before Celtic Frost, all that stuff was in there, and along with all kinds of other stuff. Like I said, Merciful Fate, King Diamond, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden.
Right.
I was always a big old school rock fan. So it's from Kiss to Aerosmith, Ted Nugent, Black Sabbath, Pat Travers. I mean, all that. I'm into all that stuff, the older stuff. I could still put it on and listen to a few songs. You know what I mean? That's still cool to me. Same thing with metal records. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So you guys probably had some of that seeping into the sound a little bit when you guys were starting to put stuff together.
I don't know, man, because we weren't robbing anybody. You know what I mean? Yeah. We were right. The stuff we were writing in Mantas was kind of, prehistoric. You know what I mean? Yeah. So really, really super, super simple. And yeah, man, it was cool. It was fun. Like I said, we were just kids. We weren't thinking about anything.
Right.
Record deal or touring, or we never talked about anything like that. But at that time.
So the thing that's always crazy to me is I know you guys had dropped out of school to do it, which was it because you guys were just like, screw school, or was it like you just want to do this band thing, you just want to do it all the time?
I think it was more screw school.
Okay.
and do the band thing, none of us were working.
Yeah.
So
obviously it wasn't like you were like, we're going to do this band thing, it's going to pay the bills, we don't need school, we don't need to do that, because there was no traction, at that point.
No, not at 16, man. There was no thought of band career. This is what we're going to, not in my mind. I wasn't thinking that at all. I was just having fun, chilling out in the garage. We didn't drink, we didn't do any drugs or anything then. I smoked weed out, but I think Chuck smoked a little weed and had a beer here and there, but all we did was just jam in the garage, man. Put the jam box outside and put a towel over it and just record everything and listen back and make changes. And
so
Chuck was sitting there with a dual cassette player, and he put some riffs down, and I put some riffs down, and then we put it over to the other one and put them together. And yeah, it was cool. It was a lot of fun, man.
Is that how like some of the early demos came about? It was just to like hear what you guys were doing, or what were you going to do with the demos? Like, was it trading, or what was the idea?
Yeah, it was definitely. Yeah, Chuck definitely was into the tape trading thing. He set that stuff everywhere. So yeah.
Do you remember anybody in the death metal scene, that maybe was in a band or came to be in a band or in the scene that was getting the demos from you guys that you were kind of like, or that Chuck was corresponding with? Do you remember anybody?
Borvor Kurgan, who's not in the band, but he's the one that runs Blabbermouth. I've known that guy since '83, at least on the phone. So he was the same guy back then. It's great. He's freaking hysterical. He would freaking get Charlie going. That's what we call him. It was good, man. It's good stuff. Chuck get all aggravated. Go, Charlie, it's only humor. And he would fucking be busting blood vessels, screaming. Oh, it was good times, man. It's good stuff. I'm like, gee, why you get all worked up? Fuck that guy. It's great.
That's funny.
No, it's true though, and it was funny as friggin' hell, dude. I never took that shit serious. I was like, man, he's just playing. Fuck that guy. But he didn't mean it, man. It's good stuff, man.
Right.
Good, man. I still talk to that dude. It's hysterical.
That's cool.
From Blabbermouth. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Great memories, man. I mean, his family let us. I mean, I ate at his table, and they let us there jam. And his dad would leave the house. His dad supported. He just left. He went and played tennis.
Okay.
Chuck's dad would leave the house, and
right,
he'd just sit there and jam all day.
Oh, that's cool.
Cops never came, never had any issues. Yeah, neighbors were always pretty cool there. It was fun, man. We were kids, like I said. It was good stuff.
Yeah, just having fun. How did you get like some of the sound on some of those demos? I mean, actually turned out pretty damn good. Like you said, you just threw a towel over the box and that was it.
Yeah, put it outside the garage door and threw a towel over it. Yeah, all those first demos. Not Death by Metal. That was recorded at a studio. You could barely hear the music on that one. But where it sounds kind of dirty and gritty, but you can hear stuff. That was just the jam box out in front of Chuck's garage door with a towel over top of it.
That's wild.
Yeah, it had two built-in. I still had that box. I actually just got rid of it a few months ago.
Really?
So yeah. Some kid goes, "Hey, do you still have that?" And offered me some money. I'm like, "Here you go."
Oh, that's cool.
It doesn't work. Yeah, no, it was really out of the blue. It was because I didn't advertise it or try to sell it, because I would post pictures and say, "Hey, this is it," and then I had some recorded on it.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool.
That's cool. And so that was pretty early. So you guys probably were you getting any demos from any other early bands, like maybe in the Florida scene or whatever that you remember?
Well, the only thing that was really going on in Florida would probably be Nasty Savage, Sabotage, Crimson Glory. I don't even think Crimson Glory was around in 83, 84. That was like Nasty Savage and Sabotage. I don't even think like the first incarnation of Obituary, which was Executioner. I don't even think they were around then.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
We got like the Sepultura demos and the Possessed demos, the Overkill demos. Yeah. We would just trade with people. I mean, it'd be third generation, sometime fourth generation cassettes where you could barely hear it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like, we're anyway. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, man. It was totally Chuck was really up on that stuff, man. He was the mailman. He did all that. I probably have 300 letters still that I found when I moved. I was like, holy fuck! I still have mail from freaking Mantas and Death.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's cool. I've heard stories of that. That's why I was asking. I've always heard people that were corresponding with Chuck or whatever. It sounded like he was definitely doing a lot of that.
Oh no, he did all that. Yeah, totally. He was the total legwork guy. I helped him dub tapes. But he was a trooper, man. He'd freaking write personal letters to all these people and go to the freaking post office. No, he was fucking way cool.
Yeah.
With that, he was, he showed those people respect. That was for sure. No, he was just passionate about it, man. He really was.
Yeah. Right.
He probably had a different thought in his mind. You know what I mean? At that time, I'm not a mind reader. Nobody is. So he probably had that thought. And, obviously, he moved on. He let me go. He hired two other guys, Scott and Matt whatever, that one band. And then he moved to Frisco and found Ryford and did a record. And, he was on a mission.
Yeah.
And then allowed me and Terry and Bill into the band. You know what I mean? So I've heard he was back in town, and I won't get way ahead of myself. But yeah, the demo days were freaking, it was fun, dude. We played like on a salad bar. We played at Showbiz Pizza Place. Dude, Chuck had a 212 PV cabinet with a PA head that he would play his guitar through with a Boss Super Distortion, and he would sing through the two speakers too. So he was playing guitar and singing through a 212 PV with a PA head, dude. When we well,
That's
if no
cool.
PA, it was just the PA was his amp, and
Just
it was only
getting it done.
212s. I'm like, no, totally.
Yeah, that's
Rozz,
cool.
I'll tell you what.
Did
No, it
anybody
was
get
great, man.
into it at those shows? Like, did people know what was going on, or
They
like?
didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
They didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
No, there was nobody. No. There were 10. There, as far as the wherever we were playing could go back, they were back there.
Yeah.
They were just no, dude. We were wearing corpse paint and stuff back then. No white face, but just like, yeah, totally, man. We were we go in the bathroom mirror and put shit on.
Yeah, they didn't know what was going on.
Slayer. No. Minus that, the music, dude. They didn't have a freaking clue.
Mm-hmm.
It probably had. I'm going to say it had like a Venom rock and roll kind of edge meets. You've heard this stuff. I really don't know. I mean, that's what we were listening to. It definitely wasn't. We weren't going into Merciful Fate mode or anything like that. So
yeah, no, that's what makes those demos fun, though, man. You do hear that Venom. There's that little added element of some of that stuff, and I think they're fun as hell. So then when he went to California, did the Chris Reifert thing, went with Scream Bloody Gore. When, because I know then you got back into the band, once because he came back, right? He came back to Florida.
I was in Massacre at the time, and Massacre we drove out to, what was the name of the venue? It was an armory. I can't think of it, but it was a big place, and we were supposed to open for Overkill and Megadeth.
Mm-hmm.
This is on the Peace Cells tour because Gar was still alive, and yeah. And we showed up, and they said, "Nah, man, we got somebody else to play." And I didn't show it, but I was so livid. I'm like, and I was just done. I'm like, I'm fucking done with this damn band in my mind.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, this is bullshit. And I I made a big move and blah 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 blah. But then all of a sudden, this dude out of nowhere comes up. Hey, I don't know who he is. Don't know his name, and I wouldn't recognize him if I saw him again. He just came up to me out of the blue and goes, "Hey, Chuck's back in town." And I was like, really? Okay. And this is right around Christmas time.
Yeah.
Right before Christmas. So the next day, I drove to his freaking house. I didn't even call him. I just showed up and boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
He opened the door and he was like, I could tell in his face, he was like, whoa, what the fuck is this dude doing here?
Yeah.
So I said, hey, man, I don't mean to show up unannounced. I just wanted to chit chat with you. If you feel like talking to me, it's a music thing. I think I mentioned that. I don't even know if I mentioned it was a music thing. And he called me the next day, and then I went over there and I called Bill and Terry from Chuck's house and said, hey, you guys are in Death. We need to learn the Scream Bloody Gore record and go on tour.
And
they had no idea until I told. Oh yeah, it was cool, dude. Everybody hit it off really good. We had a good time.
So when he was off in California, he did the Scream Bloody Gore thing. Were you when did you hear that album?
I didn't.
Oh.
The last thing I heard that Chuck did was the Mutilation demo. I didn't even know he was doing a record. So
by the time you went over to see him, you hadn't even heard the album yet?
No.
But so had it come out yet or not even?
That I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if it was out or not, or if it was getting ready to come out, because, we didn't play on it. That was just Chuck and Chris.
Yeah, right.
And, we had to learn it because I had to learn the whole record. All three of us had to learn the record, and we went through rehearsals and got that ready, and then went out on tour in a custom van, took the table out and had we were just talking about that the other night when we were rehearsing, me, Terry, and Gus.
Yeah.
Sorry, brought that up.
That's cool. So you had to learn the songs, but you would have known at least there was like two on there right from the demo that you guys had.
But I hadn't played them in forever. Infernal Death and Evil Dead.
Evil Dead, yeah. So,
those are both Mantas early Death days.
Were they rewritten at all, or no? Because I'm pretty sure you wrote. You wrote Evil Dead, correct? I think
most of it, yeah. And same thing with Infernal Death.
Okay, so it's just not shown like in the credits or whatever, but
yeah, that's fine. Barney used to sing Evil Dead, so Chuck rewrote the lyrics.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the music stayed the same, but the lyrics were different because the Mantas Death days with Barney in the band when he was playing drums, he sang probably about 75-80% of the tunes at first. Chuck did I think 3 or 4, and Barney sang the rest.
Mm-hmm.
But,
okay.
But yeah, so Chuck rewrote the lyrics for sure.
Yeah, just to have it be his own thing.
And I still think, I think Barney might have had lyrics for Infernal Death too. I'm trying to think of that song. Yeah, he sang both of those. So Chuck rewrote the lyrics for both of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So at that point too, the band was so different with the lyrics, with all the horror movie stuff. I mean, you had that in the demos, and you had it throughout that album. Like, were you guys all fans of that stuff back then, or what was going on with that?
Yeah, but I didn't write any lyrics or anything, so I didn't care what they wrote about. I didn't even know any of the lyrics other than listening to them and learning them that way. But
yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't sit around and watch horror movies all day or anything like that. But yeah, I was into all kinds of different stuff, just like I am now. You know what I mean? Same thing. So, right. Yeah, we were horror buffs for sure into that, but not like I'm not like super hardcore or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah. It's just one of those big things, like when you're looking at the Scream Bloody Gore lyrics or the track list, and then obviously by the time you get to Leprosy, it's quite a bit different. So it's just but it's a cool little time capsule one.
Yeah, Chuck got out of his system in one record and moved on.
Yeah. So you guys,
what you did with every record.
Yeah, for sure. I know, right? So you guys were doing the demo stuff at first and playing in front of people that didn't know what was going on, but then you guys went out for Scream Bloody Gore. Like, was that a huge difference with people finally starting to pick up on things?
Well, Chuck had a record out and it was something different and something new.
Yeah.
Other than like what Possessed was doing.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't much of that going on, but yeah, it was okay, man. You know what I mean? It was definitely different from Nobody.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we were just, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, because you had the new lineup. You had Terry. You said you had Bill. Was it like, did you guys do many big tours or just local shows and stuff like that?
We did one tour. We actually finished that first one. I was talking to Terry about the other night. I was like, did we ever finish a tour?
Right.
Because we came home so much, dude. I mean,
yeah,
first time to Europe. We weren't even halfway through the first European tour, and freaking God bless the guy, but Charlie freaking blew a gasket, and we went home, and it was the clear blue skies. It's been freaking gray and dingy, and it just was freaking. It was just like just really gloomy, like the whole time we were there. And I remember, never forget, Billy Andrews comes up to me, he goes, "Hey Rick, guess what? We're going home today. We're in Europe, and it's a beautiful day." And we're going back to Florida. No, he was freaking livid. He goes, "We're going back to Florida. We don't need to be here." He was so excited to be there, man.
Yeah.
But it's, but shit happens. Your singer wants to go home.
Yeah.
None of us we never babied him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we just went with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That had to be a bummer, though.
It's all right, man. And then the Death Dark Angel tour, the same thing over a freaking drum riser.
Yes, yeah, I don't remember any of the reasons. Yeah, okay.
Gasket. Went home early again. You know what I mean? I'm like, fuck.
Right.
I rode on the Dark Angel motorhome the whole time because I didn't want to hear freaking Krabby Creaking Cakes. And then I got fired. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Probably. That probably was.
No, it's cool, man. You fired a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, it's his band.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He has the right to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's his reputation from going through so many people. Why people have all these questions? Well, why? I don't know.
Yeah.
You can't ask him.
I always wondered, like, if it was more of a, like, was it his drive, and he always wanted to have different musicians that were going to make things different, or was it like those kind of things, where you had those little conflicts on the road?
He never wanted to. He never wanted to be a singer or a growler or a screamer. No, he wanted. People that know Chuck know this for a fact. He wanted like a power. If he could have had a power metal vocalist fronting him, he would have been in heaven.
Oh, even from the early days. He would have been.
I think my personal opinion on. I can't believe I'm going to give this fucking guy credit, but my personal opinion on. I believe Chuck was influenced by Barney.
Okay.
To do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because Barney wrote most of, like I said, he was doing most of the singing and playing drums, and then Chuck started writing some tunes and started picking up the mic, and then I saw that, you know what I mean? And because he was never really wanted to do that.
Okay.
But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
I could be completely wrong. Could be completely wrong, but I really think there was a little encouragement, mental encouragement, just like listening and picking up and going, I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different. He has a different voice. So it was cool. You know what I mean? When they changed vocals and did different tunes, it was different.
Yeah.
Like when we play with Nasty Savage, Barney actually says over the mic, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Evil Chuck now, because Chuck had just wrote his first song.
Okay.
Or his first lyrics. And yeah, it's weird hearing that, but it's true. He actually says it on the tape. That was the Live at Ruby's Pub. And that was with Nasty Savage, like the second real show we did in Tampa, and there was probably 300-400 people there, dude, and there was nobody in the front. Everybody was standing back. They didn't know what the fuck we were doing then. They compared to Nasty Savage, they're like, what the fuck?
Right.
Not to go back in time, but yeah.
So maybe he
But
just
I know he did. He didn't want to be a singer. He admitted it. He admits it himself. He put himself in a pickle, let alone in a band called Death. You know what I mean? You can't get
Yep.
that's all that I mean, that's your freaking stamp. That's your freaking stamp, bro. That's your freaking stamp. That's Chuck's stamp. So you're stuck with that. So he regretted the name and the perspective, and
yeah.
he definitely didn't want to be a singer. He wanted to be a guitar. He wanted to be a shred dude.
Right.
Yeah. And he didn't want to be on the mic.
But he kind of was.
He did a great job, man. He did good.
Yeah. I'm not complaining. I mean, that's what we know of his Death. So
he had a really good career. It just sucks that he didn't get to continue. You know what I mean? But
I know, especially by the time he finally did get the power metal vocalist. You know what I mean? That's the sad thing.
Yeah.
You know, once he finally did control.
But that was really hard for him to do. You know what I mean? The first Control Denied record ended up being a Death record.
Right.
Because who knows Control Denied?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter who you are. You start a new thing. You're starting from the ground up with a little bit of a helping hand from your name and your career, but
sure.
It's not going to be embraced right out of the gate like your original thing that people are used to for the past freaking 20-some years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The name carries a lot of weight for sure.
No, that's why the label was going to put it out, but they're like, you got to put another Death record out first. So that last Death record that was released was supposed to be a Control Denied record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've read that before. It is wild. It's wild, and it's wild that it still worked out so well. That being that it was,
that pissed him off.
I'm sure.
No, he was trying to get rid of that, dude. He was trying so hard to get out of that.
Yeah, but he just had to do it.
But what can you do?
Yeah. That's an interesting perspective. So he just he knew the fans, everybody had expected his vocals and that style. So he just kind of did his slow progression away from it and kind of finally moved to where he wanted to be by the end there, seems like.
Yeah, but Death would have still haunted him. He would have got that if Controlled and I would have started touring and he would have be here to do that. He would have been haunted by that.
Yeah.
When's the next Death record?
Forever.
Dude, I'm telling you, he would have been freaking tormented. So it's better off that he didn't have to hear that because it would have freaking drove him up a fucking wall.
I hear you. Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
For sure. Oh, for sure. I mean, I think of bands that today that do that, they'll change their style drastically or they'll, oh yeah, I mean, that's metal fans are crazy, they're not going to accept something like that. So when, going back just a little bit, so Leprosy, you guys were talking about like writing for the early stuff. You guys were going back and forth on all that kind of, back and forth trading and writing together. How was that once you guys got to Leprosy? I mean, you've been writing with Chuck for a little bit now. Was it a little more comfortable, a little bit easier?
Well, we were doing that from day one with the Mantas and early Death days. And when he went off to do Scream Bloody Gore and we learned Scream Bloody Gore, it's just I always had my own little thing, the way I played and wrote stuff, but I picked up stuff from Chuck, taught me a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? There's a lot of those fancy parts. I would have never wrote that stuff. And now I'm learning it again. And it's fancy for me because it's been 34 years. Yeah. And I'm playing some of those parts in Leprosy. I was like, holy crap. I played this?
Yeah.
No, I listened to those songs and I'm like, wow. I mean, we had a pretty decent rehearsal the other night, but a few weeks ago, I had a little anxiety because this shit came to fruition, however you say that word, really quick when I brought it up to Gus and Terry gave the thumbs up, and then there's a tour booked, and I'm like, this is for real.
And we should just say the name real quick, which is this new Left to Die project, right?
Yeah.
I talked about it with Matt,
but
just again.
I didn't mean to get
No.
off the subject of Leprosy.
Might as well say the name for it. I mean, like I said, I talked about it with Matt, and we were talking about, when you guys are going out and all that, but just so everybody knows, I mean, that's got to be wild, man, going back however many years and learning that stuff again. It's probably a little different.
Yeah, it's there's some muscle memory coming back now, but for a little while I was just like, I was scared, for real, terrified. I said it to a couple of friends of mine. They were laughing at me. I'm like, I'm for real. I got to get on stage and play this? Really? It's hard enough to play at home.
Yeah.
It's all good. It'll be fun though. But back to the Leprosy thing, yeah, man. We were just sitting in Chuck's room and just flop riffs back and forth. That's why there's so many riffs on there because we didn't throw any away. I'm thinking. Because he was cool with what I was coming up with, and I was cool with, it just flowed, and we put them together, and with the dual cassette player, and showed them to Bill and Terry, and
it's really cool how well you guys meshed at that time. I mean, like listening to the songs. I know you wrote, a song. Chuck wrote his own, a couple songs, and the rest of you guys worked together, and it's just like it just all sounds so seamless, and but it does sound it sounds varied enough, which is probably because you guys have, you know, two people writing it, which keeps things interesting. But it's just really cool how well you guys meshed at that time, you know?
Yeah, he wanted another shredder. You know what I mean? He wanted another burner, and I never. That's his prerogative, man. You know what I mean? I thought the little friend. I mean, I was in key at least, but you know, I was the frenzy style of Whammy. I thought it went really good with Chuck's style, you know, because you could distinguish the two things. But hey, you know what I mean? And then it happened what I thought would happen. He's going to get another shredder in the band, and then it's going to be a competition, and nobody's going to get along. And bam, that happened like 6 times. You know what I mean? So,
sure. Yeah.
But anyways, that's just my freaking whatever.
So your approach to soloing was a lot different than Chuck's. Like you were hitting the whammy and kind of going a little more crazy. I
stayed on the whammy, dude. I stayed on the whammy like all the time, except for like a hammer-on part that I do and pull the plug.
Yeah. But like you said, it went well together.
I thought so. You could tell who's who, and it was like some frenzied, crazy shit with some kind of melodic speediness, and I thought they meshed good together because they were so different. Instead of like, oh, who is that?
Mm-hmm.
Who's doing that solo?
Yeah.
Not that it matters, solo schmolo. You know what I mean? I could have been just a rhythm guitar player in Death and not even done a solo.
Sure. You
know what I mean? I wouldn't have given it crap.
Right. So
I wasn't never trying to be in the spotlight. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So was you? So you were picking up that Chuck wanted more than that then, or was it like once you guys were like, we got to start writing a next album, that he was like looking for something a little different?
He was always asking me if I was practicing.
Okay, yeah. So you could.
I was writing riffs. I wasn't practicing solos.
Yeah.
When he said practicing, he was talking about, are you working on your scales without saying that, you know? And I'm like, fuck that, dude. I'm whammy man. That's it.
Right.
I never said that to him, but
yeah.
I kind of knew it was coming, man. It's just, you know, you pick up on things, and
yeah.
I got nothing bad to say about the guy, you know, everything I say about him, and he's not here to defend himself, but he would probably go, Rick's right.
Yeah.
Because there's no pulling punches. I mean, he would go to Billy. Billy would come to me one day on a tour and say, hey man, Chuck's looking to replace you. And I would say, oh really? He was saying that to me about you the day before yesterday. So there was a weird thing going.
Yeah.
But you know, he didn't have anybody else, you know what I mean? So he, you know, they got Murphy in the band, and you know, he was close with Terry, and Terry knew who he was, and he's a really good guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
James Murphy, that is.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, they did one record, and then Murphy was gone. You know what I mean? That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's all good, man. People are people. They make their own choices in life, and they have that right to do it.
Yeah.
You can't get mad at them if they say, okay, I don't want to work with you anymore.
Right. Because, I mean, what would have happened if you stayed in the band, right? Because because you weren't going to really change your style, I'm sure. So I wonder if it would have even worked,
There's
right?
no way. There's no way in hell he would have allowed Whammy on all of Spiritual Healing.
Yeah.
Because he had said before, you can't put Whammy on a whole record. And then people are like, oh, Rick did?
Yeah.
And that was the last time, you know what I mean?
Sure, that's funny.
It's cool, though. It's cool.
Yeah, so it all kind of went the way it went. I mean, which is cool, because then you got to do fucking, Massacre. Thank God we got that, was From Beyond. Thank God we got that out of all this, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was fun. That was way late in time, because those songs were written in 85 and 86 and didn't come out till 91. So that was kind of a little late bloomer. But
yeah,
it came out at least. And the only reason, I've said before to other people, the only reason why that even came out, because we weren't shopping Massacre.
Mm-hmm.
So Digby Pearson, the owner of Earache Records, I think Morbid just did their first record with David Vincent, and David Vincent called me. He's like, hey, just wanted to let you know, Digby Pearson's a real big fan of Massacre, and he'd like to put a record out. That's exactly how Massacre got a record.
Wow. That's
it.
Wild.
I'm going to leave it at that, because that is it. Period.
That's wild that you guys didn't send that out at all.
Nah, we weren't thinking about that, man. We were just trying to play shows locally in Tampa and doing stuff. We didn't do anything.
Yeah.
We didn't send anything like that to that stuff to labels.
Yeah.
So you got to think, freaking, what is that? Say 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. So 4.5 years later, we get a call, and some guy wants to put out a Massacre record. So we had to relearn that stuff. And I was jamming with 2 other people in Massacre, and I had to let those guys go, get Bill and Terry back in the band.
Mm-hmm.
Because Terry called me. That's just, dude, it's so weird, this whole timing factor. When this was going on with Earache having interest in Massacre, Terry and Bill weren't in Massacre. Terry and Bill were still in Death. So they're on the Spiritual Healing tour in Europe without Chuck.
That's
and
right.
Terry calls me from Europe, somewhere in Europe, and goes, "Hey, we're on tour without Chuck," and I'm gonna, in layman's terms, we're on tour without Chuck, and I seriously doubt we're gonna be in the band when we get home. You want to reform Massacre?
Oh man.
Or something like that.
Mm-hmm. That is such a wild one.
I don't even know if I mentioned anything about the record deal, or if that had happened. It had already happened because the other guys were already in the band.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So Joe Cangelosi from Whiplash, and he also played in Creator for a little while. He had moved out from New York. He was in the band, and a good friend of mine, Butch Gonzalez, who's a badass bass player in all realms of music. I had to tell those guys, "Hey, man, Bill and Terry are coming back," and then there was no hard feelings.
Yeah,
nobody was pissed off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a really odd coincidence. Like, the guy wants to put a record out, and then Terry calls me, and I'm like, and then we basically relearned those songs, whatever songs are on that record.
Right. Right. Thank God for it.
4 or 5 years later, I don't know about that. I wish it would have came out a little earlier. It would have been cool, but
can you imagine? Yeah, because
it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah,
that would have came out like
bummer,
87, right? Along with like, if it would have came out with Scream Bloody Gore in 87, you know what I mean, that would have been a cool time for it because it was written in 85, 86.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it wasn't meant to came out when it came out, and so that's cool. People dig it, and that's cool.
For sure. Oh yeah, for sure. That's what I was going to ask you. So with that time, I guess going back to kind of like the Leprosy time period, so that was a little bit later on. You know, I feel like, you know, I forget the year, but I know death metal was taken off a little bit more around you guys. And were you aware of what some of the other bands were doing? Like, I know I talked to Obituary a long time ago and kind of asked them the same question. I remember they were like, you know, it was like a healthy competition. You know, you knew what Death was doing, you knew what Morbid Angel was doing, those kind of bands. And, you know, it wasn't like you were.
Yeah, I never kept up on other bands.
Yeah. Okay.
On who's doing what, who's doing better, who's playing in front of who's touring with who, who's selling more records, how many people they have in the crowd. I ain't fuck about that.
Yeah. Right.
None of my business. You know what I mean? I'm not in competition.
Yeah, for sure. The way
everybody's doing it. Go ahead.
The way he phrased it was kind of like it was like a fun thing because it was like you'd hear a song from one band, you'd be like, "Oh shit, they're playing it fast," or "That's a killer riff," or whatever, and like we got to go and we got to do something cool too. You know, so it was kind of a cool, you know what I mean, like a healthy kind of competition. Is a weird word, but you know,
kind of like Slayer gave me the influence to play fast or whatever. It's like but all music and I think everything and probably anything that's creative. Is all influence meets originality, because if it wasn't for a certain thing, you wouldn't have even, you know, it's just like all these cover bands and all these songs. Oh man, that's better than the original. Well, guess what? That wouldn't exist if there wasn't an original.
Right.
You know what I mean? That badass tune would not exist. And you're saying this, so they played it good. Good for them. They didn't write it.
Right. Right.
Anyways, It's all good.
Yeah. You guys, though, when you guys were touring and stuff with Leprosy material, was it finally getting a lot more traction by then? I mean, I would think.
Dude, we never, like I said, we really never got to finish a tour and move up any kind of ladder if you were trying. Like I said, that wasn't a thought in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I got you. I mean,
we weren't making a bunch of money, and that wasn't a thought in my mind either.
Right.
You know, we were getting fed, we were getting a place to sleep. Yeah, we had to struggle a few times, but I'm not a bitch, man. I'm not a baby. I could freaking punk rock it. I'm gonna be punk rocking it now. You know what I mean? It's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
So sometimes you have to punk rock.
Yeah.
Look at all those freaking 80s bands that used to play in front of 30, 40,000 people that had to go and do fucking club tours to even freaking make $1. Hey, now when you think about it in that way, well, that dude is 60. And he used to be that guy. He's still that guy, but he's playing in front of 300-400 people a night.
Oh yeah.
So I never looked at it like that. You know, 10 people or 10,000. I'm going to play the same. I'm not going to be all bummed out because there's 10 people there and just go through the motions and play like shit just because there's only 10 people there.
Right. Sure.
So I know it's not about that, man. Sure, it's great when there's a crowd there and they know all your shit and they're going crazy. That fucking rules.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which I'm sure is going to happen for this tour coming up, because
don't terrify me again.
Right. Being that you've been going back to that material and everything, like any riffs or songs sticking out, like maybe a favorite riff that you wrote or like a favorite song, just now that you're revisiting it so much?
Actually, I like playing them all. Yeah. There's no favorite, really. I've never really had a favorite. Yeah. You know what I mean? I like playing them all. I mean, even all the Scream Bloody Gore, I never was like, I don't want to play that. I was never like that. Whatever was on the list, I'd be like, cool. There was a couple that were like, oh, fuck, we're playing that? Right. Damn it. Because it's a bitch. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, no, I wouldn't say it to them. It'd be in my mind. I'm like, okay, do you need to work on that part? Because that's a bitch.
Yeah, right.
So
I hear you.
I'm a
So
lazy guitar player, man. I'll be the first to admit it. So
yeah, whatever
I
gets the
am.
job
That's
done.
why
Though.
I didn't sit around and freaking practice solos and all that stuff. I just was writing riffs, and like I said, I'm a rhythm guitar player, man. That grabbed the whammy.
But I
I mean,
do.
I could play a blues solo with the wah pedal. I could play a little slide, but that's not going to freaking work with what we're playing. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to go, fuck that.
Yeah, I get it, man. But I think that's one of the that's one of the beautiful things about Leprosy. It's I don't want to say it's a simple album, but I mean, you guys aren't doing crazy guitar acrobatics, and that's what gives it gives it that punch and drive. It's just in your face. It's simple, and that's why I think it's one of my favorite, Death albums. It doesn't need to be overly flashy. You know what I mean? In my mind.
Yeah, I was never really into playing that style of stuff as far as being fancy or frolicking through the park and all that.
Yeah.
It's cool. I just died. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
That's why it wouldn't have worked. So
Sure.
I was let go at the right time because I wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah. So that
it would have been a waste of their time. So
I get it. So then after that happened, you got out of the band for a while. Did you ever kind of talk with Chuck after that at all throughout the history of the band or anything?
Right after the fact, it was years. Then we coincidentally, ran into each other twice. But once we actually spoke, the second time I saw him, I was being arrested for marijuana.
Okay.
So I didn't say, "Hey, Chuck, how's it going?"
Right.
No, I'll be honest. It's the truth. So I was in cuffs getting ready to go to the pokey for a little bit.
Right.
For a night. And there was Chuck again. But that's the night that I watched him walk inside, and he was kind of dragging his right leg a little bit.
Okay.
Like he wouldn't pick it up. It would drag a little bit. And then the next time I ran into his sister at a different bar, and he had a relapse, and it was inoperable. So it went from having a really cool conversation with the guy, show me he had no scar. We didn't really talk music or go through memory lane or anything like that. I just let him talk about himself.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything about me, didn't say anything about the band I was playing and nothing. I just hadn't seen him forever, and I just let him talk to me, and it was cool.
Yeah.
We had a really good talk. It was really cool.
That is cool.
So he never pissed me off, and if I pissed him off, it was over something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't like anything that's really going to come in between band members, like you're trying to you fuck my girlfriend.
Yeah.
It was nothing like that. It was just musical differences.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Period. That's on his part. You know what I mean? And I probably wouldn't have. Yeah, I mean, I listened to Spiritual Healing. It's a good record, but I wouldn't have played anything that Murphy played.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, I could have played that stuff that Chuck wrote with all the notes and stuff like that if I wanted to and took the time, but I wouldn't have really had too much interest in that. So he made the proper move in doing what he did.
Yeah. Right.
Even though he didn't do it, he had Eric, his lawyer, call me at the time, who has passed away as well. Yeah, up in Jersey. So I was in Jersey. Hey, have your guitar with you? I lied and I said, yeah. And I didn't know he was in cahoots with the chick I was hanging out. And she's like, he doesn't have his guitar. So I got busted.
Okay.
That's a true story too. That's so. And then the next day, Eric called me. Oh, your service is no longer needed. I was like, okay, man.
Bummer.
No, I was cool with it.
Yeah.
No.
I just mean like hearing it from the lawyer, I guess. You know what I mean? But I get it.
Nah, Chuck was never to do that. He would never do it himself.
Right. But it's cool that you guys got to reconnect later on and everything.
Yeah. That was really cool. And it was coincidental, really coincidental.
Yeah.
But yeah, then like I said, the next time I saw him, I wasn't in a very good position to say hello. And then the next time I found out about his relapse was through his sister we were at a bar called the FBI. The other place was called the Station in Fern Park that we met the first time. Then I saw his sister, and she said, yeah, he's had a relapse. And yeah. Then I found out that he went home and he was alive very briefly. And then he passed away in his house. Right. And it was only I know Richard Christie was there, and his best childhood friend, David Menchu, was there. And I think that's it. And his parents. And yeah, as far as I know.
Yeah. Right. At least I got to be home for it. You know what I mean?
I heard he smiled and was alive for a little. Smiled when he came into the house, and I don't even know if he was walking. So I don't. Yeah, his motor skills super shot.
Yeah, what a bummer.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, what a bummer, man. Well,
but at least I got to see the guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool. I mean, just after all that time, and
I'd rather see him walking around healthy than seeing him laying there dying.
Exactly. Yeah.
That wouldn't have been good.
So yeah, so I think we hit most of the big things throughout the time with Death and everything. So now, yeah, you just got this Left to Die project. You guys are doing Leprosy, and you said you're doing a few from Scream Bloody Gore too.
Yeah, we're doing like 4 off the record.
Okay, so that's a pretty well-rounded set. Then that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're throwing them in there periodically, the Scream tunes, like in between stuff. And
okay,
yeah, it should be cool. It's a 12-song set, so
yeah. And I know the bands you guys have coming out with you are fucking, I like a lot. So it should be it's just going to be fun. I can't wait for it. So
yeah, it's going to be a challenge. And I get to start off here locally too.
Yeah.
Hopefully that goes good. I told Terry, I'm like, hey, what happened to the 1 or 2 shows like you did with Murphy? Why you throw me into deep end and we're doing a tour?
Full tour, right?
I'm like, dude, what's up with that? So you could do it.
Right. Well, hopefully
it was cool. No, the jam was good. I had a couple of boo-boos, but most of the boo-boos are like my rhythms underneath my little whammy stuff, which I learned. But as we're playing, I'm thinking of like how the whammy stuff goes, and I would like lose my place. So then I just go to the whammy stuff and work that in. They're like, "Oh, dude, you're doing some whammy." I'm like, "Yeah," because I forgot that other part.
Right.
Because I'm just trying to do the rhythms. I want to get all the rhythms down, and I'm not worried about the whammy stuff right now.
Sure.
But yeah, but we episode 85-90% on my part, with a couple of fumbleinas here and there. But
yeah,
if Matt was playing, but I was the only guitar player. Matt wasn't there, so if Matt was there, he would cover that up.
Exactly. Yeah, no one's gonna pick that.
But no, I don't want to do that though. I don't want a fumbleina. I want to do it right. You know what I mean? I want it to be nice and tight and clean and not freaking shite.
Right. It's gonna happen.
You could edit out whatever you want to edit. I know I babbled about a bunch of crap.
No. It was all great. I loved it, man. I loved it. All good stuff. Babbling, that's what you want on a podcast. That's what it is, really. So
no, that's cool. But yeah, the Left to Die thing's gonna be fun, man. I'm really looking forward to Matt coming down in early July. Get a couple of jams in with him before. I think our first show's on the 7th at the Haven. So he's coming down like on the 3rd or the 4th, and we're gonna have a couple of full jams together, and then the tour starts.
Well, you got a month for that. I'm sure they'll be ready for it. And by the time you get to Detroit, I think it's like the 20-something, so you should be pretty good and warmed up. So
yeah, either that or they fire me and it's over.
Yeah, I guess that could happen. Nah. All right, man. Well, listen, I appreciate the time again, man. I really enjoyed it. And yes. I'll be catching you.
No, I appreciate your time too, man. Thanks for listening to my freaking baloney. It's all factual, but I'm just freaking babbling like a fool.
Yeah. No, man. I appreciate it.
No, Jason, I really appreciate it, man. Really, really. It's very cool of you. And looking forward to seeing you in Detroit?
Yep, man. I'll be in Detroit, so I'll see you there.
Cool. Yeah, hit me up if you don't talk to Matt or whatever. If you have a guest or anybody coming down, and put you on the list.
Oh yeah,
save you a few bucks.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No problem at all. I'm sure the guys won't have a problem with that.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, enjoy your day and enjoy your weekend. And
you too.
Man.
Take care of yourself.
Good luck practicing.
Thank you. I need it. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Take care, man. Peace.